But of course there is real hope, right? And Imam al-Qushayri, like other spiritual masters, distinguished between true hope and false hope. And what is the distinction? True hope, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, and we can move forward a little bit because it's filling up inshallah. True hope is seeking something desirable in the future and taking the means to attain it. Because hope is like asking, oh Allah, grant me the good. And Allah facilitates the means. But then you say, you know what, I won't take them. That's delusion, right? Because the one you seek from is the one who gives you the opportunities. So false hope is bad adab. It's a, oh Allah, grant me paradise. But He's facilitated the ways for it. So they use the example of the one whose village is, may Allah protect us, whose village is flooded. So everyone in the village flees for safety, except this one man. He goes to the roof of his house as the waters rise. And they say, come with us. I say, no, I've asked Allah. I have hope in Allah. And the waters rise. And boat after boat comes, saying, come with us. He said, no, I've asked Allah. I have hope in Allah. And the water rises and rises, and the final boats come. And in the modern retelling of it, finally a helicopter comes. Right? Say, come, we'll take you away. And he says, no, I've asked Allah. I have hope. And then he drowns. And it said the angels will take him to task. And then Allah will say, oh my servant, you asked me, and I sent you boat after boat to save you. But you refused. And in the modern retelling, and I even said that helicopter. And you rejected that too. Right? So that's false hope. False hope is when you desire good in the future, but then you don't take the means to attaining it. Which is why one of the great Imams of the Salaf, Shaykh al-Kirmani, he said, عَلَامَةُ الرَّجَاء حُسْنُ الطَّاعَةِ. The sign of hope is beautiful service. Because you ask for the good from Allah, but then you take the opportunities that Allah has granted you to attaining it. In the same vein, Imam al-Qushayri relates from Abu Abdurrahman al-Sulami, one of the great Imams of the spiritual path, with his chain of transmission to Abu Ali al-Rudhabadi, who is one of the great Imams of the Salaf, radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in, who says that fear and hope are like the two wings of a bird. When they are balanced, the bird is balanced and its flying is complete. Right? Hope and fear are like the two wings of a bird. When they are balanced, then the bird can fly. But where does the bird fly to? Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, فَفِرُّوا إِلَى اللَّهِ. So flee to Allah. Right? وَإِلَى اللَّهِ تَرْجِعُ الْأُمُورِ. To Allah do all matters return. The divine statement that we affirm when we hear of someone's death, إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Truly we are Allah's, and to Him are we returning. This is a reality, but it is also an aspiration. Hope is to have a good return to your Lord, to be ready to return. The early Muslims, Imam al-Qushayri quotes, have some amazing statements on what is real hope. And we'll just mention a few of them. Right? Because one of the important things to be clear about, that we do not hope in our actions. We do not hope in our intelligence. We do not hope in our success. We do not hope in our smarts. Right? We don't have self-confidence in the sense of, I can do it. Hope is to have, as an uncle might put it, Allah confidence. Right? That our confidence is by Allah. Right? Which is why Imam al-Qushayri quotes from a number of early masters, and sometimes in some of the classical texts they'll say, it is said. And there's a number of reasons. One, the person might not remember who said it, but often it'll be quoting a contemporary. And generally, the scholars were very careful about quoting from contemporaries. They said, quoting those who came before is safe, because we know they had a good ending. But we don't have this sense of the Superman, that no one is, besides prophets, is absolutely protected from trial. It is very possible for anyone to flip. So sometimes they say, it is said, just to avoid giving unconditional praise to someone whose ending we don't know. But one of the definitions of hope, al-raja, ثقة الجود من الكريم الودود, being confident in generosity from the most generous and the most loving. And that is hope. And having complete confidence, ثقة, no doubt in the generosity of the most generous and the most loving. Another is beholding majesty with the eye of beauty. Right? رؤية الجلال بعين الجمال. Because if you look at your Lord, if you think of who is Allah, the absolute, the one who's sustaining everything in existence at every moment. If you think about that majesty, all he has to do is to say, stop, and you cease to be. But the mercy of Allah is that He has chosen, out of His grace, to make the basis of His dealing with creation beauty, mercy, care, concern. Right? So beholding majesty, we have a sense of awe of Allah, but with the eye of beauty. Another definition given is closeness of the heart from the grace, from the graces of one's Lord. Right? The one recognizes, if you see everything around you is mercy. Right? That's the basis of all things. If the percentage of oxygen was a little more, if gravity was a little different, everything is in this beautiful, merciful balance around us. Then why would Allah not treat you likewise with mercy? Just if you embrace it. Right? Because of that, they said, what is hope? It's sururul fu'ad bihusnil ma'ad. It's the rejoicing of one's innermost with a good return. That's what you're longing for. Looking at the vastness of Allah's mercy. But hope has signs. Right? They said 3 signs of hope is that you have gratitude for Allah's blessings. Right? Practically, how do we embrace hope? There's 3 aspects. The first is we have gratitude for Allah's blessings. Secondly, we seek to complete the blessings of Allah in this life. Right? Allah grants us opportunities in this life. So we seek the good of this life as a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not just as a worldly pursuit, that I have my dunya and I have my deen. Part of hope is to take the good of this world as a means of completing the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And finally, seeking complete wellness, afu and afiyah with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter. To have a good meeting with Allah. Right? Which is why Ibn Khafif, one of the great Imams of the early Muslims, he said that hope is irtiyahul qulub liru'yatil kareem, liru'yati karamil marju'il mahbub. That hope is the heart's finding rest in beholding the generosity of the one who is beloved and hoped for. It is rejoicing in the reality of Allah's bounty.